大家好，我们按预约的时间在访客中心门外等来了接我们的 bus 和专为我们这组游客服务的导游。负责参观空客的是有专有的公司，而不是空客内部的。有点类似是空客外包的呀。这位帅哥就是我们的导游。
My name is Hugo, and I will be a tour guide during the time that we will spend together. But before we start, let me remind you about safety. Make sure that your badge stays visible. You will be checked at the Airbus site entrance. Everybody has one? A badge? Site this boss. So this aircraft was a supersonic one, absolutely. Like the Caravelle, it was used for international air travel, like the famous Paris-New York flight. According to you, ladies and gentlemen, how long, more or less, is a Paris-New York flight lasting with current aircraft?
7 hours.
7 hours?
8 hours.
Yes, it's close to that. More or less, it is 7 hours and a half. It can be more or less depending the aircraft families. But with a Concorde, back in the day, such a flight lasted 3 hours and a half in comparison with a supersonic. And the reason why I am talking about Concorde before the beginning of this tour is because the Concorde aircraft was not only French developed, but also British developed. Manufacturer cooperated with a British aircraft corporation to develop it. An international cooperation among manufacturers that came from different countries was what led to Airbus creation years later. This was an inspiration for Airbus founding fathers. But I'm going to talk about that later. The building is the Jean-Luc Lagardère factory for it. But the A380 isn't produced anymore since 2021. Instead, inside the Jean-Luc Lagardère A321neo, which belongs to another aircraft family. So the entire A380 aircraft could stand under each wave in a state of assembly.
How many visitors you have each year? How many visitors?
How many visitors? 100,000 of them.
Oh.
Clearly, within the region, were used for war. During World War I, of German prisoners to build his factory. A year later, in 1918, World War I stopped, and Mr. Latécoère used the hundreds of war aircraft to realize his dream with the help of the French pilots, the military ones who had to return to civilian life. It developed flight routes from France to Africa and South America. In Toulouse never ceased to improve. During World War II, under the occupation, the German army used the factories to repair, and during the 50s and the 60s. This led to the development of the Caravelle and Concorde aircraft. But European manufacturers had quite a difficult time to compete against two American manufacturers, two giants. Which ones? Boeing, yes, and McDonnell Douglas, as well as Lockheed Martin also. So, 4 European manufacturers created a consortium, cooperated, taking inspiration from the development of the Concorde aircraft to compete against Boeing, Lockheed Martin and McDonnell Douglas. Airbus was then created in 1969. Can you give me the name of the 4 European countries that took part of this consortium back in the day?
Britain.
Yes, Britain. United Kingdom, Spain, Germany, and France. Absolutely. The manufacturers were Aerospatiale, the French one, Dutch Airbus, the German one, and British Aerospace, the British one. So the objective back in the day was to develop an Airbus, literally, a wide-body aircraft, the first European commercial turbojet equipped with only 2 engines instead of 4, because most wide-body aircraft developed by all the manufacturers were equipped with 4 engines. The new materials used back in the day allowed the aircraft to be lighter, equipped with only 2 engines, which reduced fuel consumption, which was advantageous for airliners. And speaking about Airbus, on the right-hand side and left-hand side, you may have observed buildings that are part of the corporate headquarters, administrative center. Here, you can find the direction, the communication department, the marketing department, but more specifically, different kinds of services for the customers. And I am assuming that since you're doing this tour, your potential customers, yes, you're planning to order aircraft at the end of this tour.
No.
You're working for airliners, I'm sure.
Better.
Oh. Well, let's assume that you are representatives of customers. You're planning to order aircraft, but you still have doubts about the way that you want to furbish your interior, the color of your seats, for instance. If you want a 2-class configuration, if you want to add a first class or not, you need to go to the corporate headquarters, most specifically to the airspace customer showroom, where, as representatives, you will be able to tour Scale 1 reproduction of aircraft interiors, and the Airbus staff will advise you there. All of this is done before the signature of the contract. Is everything clear as of now? Yes.
So the seats, you buy them from Airbus, but they're made by someone else?
So Airbus is taking care of the furbishing inside, but things like the passenger seats are produced by subcontractors, such as Safran, for instance. Airbus is working with quite a lot.
But you don't go to the seat manufacturer. You go
No.
to Airbus.
No, the subcontractors are bringing all the equipment needed to Airbus, to the production sites, all the assembly sites. Other questions? All right.
How many people does Airbus employ?
Employees. So worldwide, because there are multiple production sites, more than 148,000 of people. Sorry, 148,000. Yes. No. This was not a mistake. This is the right number. Sorry. And on this site, on the Toulouse site, more than 23,000 people.
You owned by 4 different countries, or you have a different other country adding in?
So at the beginning, Airbus was a consortium of those 4 manufacturers. But the company became a corporate one in the year 2000. So all those manufacturers merged together. They do not exist anymore. But the different production sites are still located within those 4 European countries. But now there are all those factories that were built over time in the United States, more in Germany, and 1 in China. But I'm going to talk about it later. Just so you know, the 300. But why this name? What does A stands for?
Airbus.
Airbus, literally, and 300.
Commercial.
The number of passenger seats, yes, that this aircraft was supposed to carry. But even if in reality this number was reduced during development time, because the engine...
导游说，进入下面这个门就不让大家拍摄了。在里面行驶的时候，也看到了不少车间，还有一些研究机构。导游呢也是一一介绍。让我们参观的就是空客 A350 总组装车间。我在网上搜了几张，代替我们看到的。 这就是空客 A350的模样。这是总组装车间，讲解员也详细介绍了飞机如何从零部件变成完整的成品。飞机的机舱也是在其他的地方生产的，不是在这个城市，因为它的尺寸很大，用火车根本装不下，所以只能用大的运输机运过来。我坐过德尔塔的空客，座位之间呢比较宽敞，也坐过美联航的波音，座位比较拥挤一点。讲解员也就是导游，知识非常渊博，介绍了许多，我就不一一介绍了。在他回去的路上，就是在送我们回去的路上，又讲解了很多。下面再继续听他讲吧。
Do you know the number? How many?
766 aircraft, all families included.
So I know it's a real shortage because the airline is waiting
Yes,
for delivery.
materials. This led to delays. For instance, the objective of Airbus in 2024 was to the subcontractors was reduced to 766. Assembled in the United States and China, the delivery is happening inside those countries, directly at the assembly site. But for those assembled here in Toulouse, the customers are coming to corporate headquarters.
Okay.
So this is part of the contract. The time will last several days. The interior and exterior of those tests are over on the ground. The Airbus pilots and the customers' pilots. The property of the aircraft is given to the customer. Several checks, several controls were done to Airbus. Workers are coming from this high school. However, it is very selective. More or less 300 workers for this factory. A321 or A330 factory is supposed to be happening on this workstation. 3.5 kilometers long. The longest one is named the Concorde runway because it was built in the region, first flew on those runways for the beginning of the test campaign. The Caravelle, the Concorde, the A300, the A310, etc., etc. I cannot say it is Boeing. I would say that Boeing is having more. So
737 engine use choosing the benefit process to choose the beluga pilots.
Yes, until 5 hours in the afternoon. So if you want to tour this site, please do.
导游把我们送回访客中心，这个访客中心旁边呢就是航空博物馆。博物馆的外面停了一些飞机，这一架就是 A400M， 是军用运输机。我们想上去看看，但是好像拦起来了。
所以它这个
哟，这挡住了。这是空中巨无霸 A380，2019年停产了，因为种种原因吧。谢谢大家收看，欢迎订阅点赞，我们下一期再见。